Hey, it's your boy Easy, and on today's episode of Easy Opens, we're going to be taking a look at the Neca 1987 animated series version of Casey Jones. And just forget about the mummy foot soldier guy over here. We're not going to talk about him. Or them. I don't know what their downstairs mix-up looks like. But this version first appeared in the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series, Season 3, Episode 23, Casey Jones, Outlaw Hero, which aired on October 25th, 1989. He is only very loosely based on his comic counterpart's appearance and penchant for violence. Like, that's really it. Just like, that's where the similarities pretty much end. Let's get this figure free from its plastic prison and see what we think about Casey Jones. This figure looks and feels amazing. I am so happy with this figure. This version of Casey Jones is one of my favorites. I loved him in the animated series, and I think he's just wild and unhinged, and I love it. And NECA did a great job bringing this figure from the screen, to our shelves, and he just looks so good. The look and color scheme are on point. The mask looks so cool. Like, they nailed the mask. It looks so absolutely cool. And the way his hair pops out of the sides, it makes you wonder, like, what kind of face is this maniac, like, hiding behind his mask? Like, it's got to be wild. But, like, the mask has such a striking look to it. It's slightly menacing, but, like, not too scary. And oddly enough, it has just a touch of life to it that, like if you told me it was his real face, I'd believe it. But I mean, I guess I have to believe it, because how else is he seeing out of those eye holes? They're just like just black, like an abyss. Like if the turtles were pupilless in this series, I guess I'd get it, but they're not ever pupilless in this series. So, like, is this his face? Like that's his face. That's not a mask. That's his face. That's wild. Anyway, moving on. The sweatpants and the cutoff shirt are classic Casey Jones. The green boots, however, are an interesting look, but totally work. And they got the exposed midriff look right. Thankfully, as opposed to the Super 7's take on the character, thankfully they got it right here, and it looks great. And now let's take a look at the accessories that come with this version of Casey Jones. This Casey comes with a hockey stick, a baseball bat, a goalie stick, a sledgehammer, a lead pipe, a brown golf bag to carry all of them in, and 6 interchangeable hands. Alright, let's take a look at the articulation you're going to get out of NECA's animated series, Casey Jones. So, starting with the head, you get 360 at the neck. The hair does kind of impede it a little bit, but you can get around it. He really can't look up too much, but he can look down a good distance, and he's got, a little bit of side-to-side action, but not a whole lot there. 360 at the shoulder, at least on the right side, but on the left side it is impeded by the shoulder pad. And you get 360 at the bicep. You get double jointed elbows at the, elbow. 360 rotation at the wrist, as well as a joint there where you can see the paint is kind of rubbing off. But so you can get some back and forth action with the finger, and in particular the pointy hand. There we go. It'll get in focus eventually. And so the chest is, I believe it is on a rocker joint. I'm not sure what the terminology is anymore, but an ab rocker, I guess. He can move back, like, just wiggle back and forth a little bit, and then side to side a little bit. Not a whole lot, but just enough. He's got 360 rotation at the waist, and then his legs, they can go out pretty good. It's got a pretty good distance. Ball joints up in there, and you get some thigh swivel. You do. You can get 360 there if need be. You get double jointed knees, and you get an ankle rocker. Let's see if this one does not turn around, or at least mine does not, like the comic version of Casey. But the ankle rocker is pretty cool, and I think that's all the articulation you're going to get out of Casey Jones. So according to Turtlepedia, this version of Casey Jones stands at 6 foot tall and weighs 195 pounds. This figure of Casey Jones stands at just over 6 inches tall and weighs around 6 ounces. Alright, now let's see how he compares to some other figures you might have in your collection. Here he is with the Neca 1987 animated series Shredder figure and their Mirage Comics Shredder figure. Here they are with NECA's Mirage Comics Foot Soldier figure and their 87 animated series Foot Soldier figure. Here they are with Hasbro's Marvel Legends Thing and SH Figuarts Kamen Rider Evil. Here they are with Jada Toys Street Fighter Fei Long and Figma's Link figure. Here they are with McFarlane's Mortal Kombat Shao Kahn and Hasbro's Power Rangers Lightning Collection Blue Centurion. Here they are with Hasbro's Fortnite Mancake figure and Storm Collectibles Sub-Zero figure. And now I thought we'd take a look at how he looks next to some other Raphael action figures. Here he is with NECA's 87 animated series Raphael. Here he is with NECA's knockoff colored bandana Mirage Comics Raphael. Here he is with NECA's Return to New York 4-pack Raphael. Here he is with the Super 7 Ultimates Raphael. Here he is with the DC Batman TMNT crossover Raphael. Here he is with NECA's animated series April 2.0. And here he is with the other Casey Jones figures, the NECA Mirage Comics gray shirt Casey and the Super 7 Ultimates Casey Jones. So the 1987 animated series is wild, y'all. If you haven't gone through it, I don't want to say it's worth your time because there's a lot of bad episodes in there, but we went through it on Turtle Soup Podcast if you want to check that out, and we have some thoughts about Casey Jones because this show has a tendency to take a lot of liberties with the characters from their source material and pretty much bastardize them, unfortunately. Like Man Ray comes to mind, and Casey Jones is another one of those characters, unfortunately. Now, in the books, he's a pivotal character for a lot of the stories and hugely impacts the Turtles, like, just in general, and they definitely call him family. And that's one of the best things about him in those books is that they subvert the expectations of his origins and his stereotypical character. And in the animated series, they got Casey Jones in the old TurtleCom just to pull him up if they need like a hired gun or someone to just come in and wreck house. And that's unfortunate considering how good of a character he is in other media, but I still think there's room for this version of Casey Jones in the fandom and in just in the lore, and I kind of like him, not gonna lie. And I really like this figure. NECA has done an amazing job again bringing this figure from the screen to our shelves, and he looks like if you take your eyes off of him for a second, something's going to get broken, and you can't really be mad because that's what he does. So I really like the proportions of the character. He's kind of got the Goldilocks proportions for me. Like, he's a tank, but he's not too beefy, but not too thin either, and I just really dig that. The only issue I have was when I was looking at the comparisons and I see that Shredder is a little bit taller than him, and I kind of would like for Casey to be a little bit, probably the same height as the tallest human figures in this line. But when you compare him to April, he towers over her, as well as the Turtles, as well as the other Channel 6 people. Like, so that's really cool. His mask is still just so cool, and a defining trademark of this character that if they didn't get right, it's just so pivotal that it would ruin the figure for me. And thankfully, I think they nailed it here. Otherwise, he'd just be a dude with sports gear. But I mean, I guess that's the comic version. But despite him saying he doesn't do anything without the mask, nevertheless, it works and looks great. Another thing I didn't realize could potentially make or break a figure would be an exposed midriff. The Super 7 take on this character from the Playmates figure looks a little strange in that area, and it's not a deal breaker for me, but I can totally see it being for some other people, and it's just strange how you just assume something like that wouldn't be an issue until it is, and when you see it done well, you appreciate it more, and that's what we have here. And speaking of things I appreciate, I always appreciate a ton of accessories, especially at adult collectible price points, because, you know, where else is our money going to? And even more so, I appreciate when they're done well, and these totally are. They do suffer from a little bit of flatness, which is the style of the animated series, but it totally works and actually helps to immerse you in that world's frame that's been brought into our 3D world or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it works for that context. And then adding even more to the appreciation train, I am always a fan when a character comes with a practical means to carry and store all of their included accessories. And the golf bag is a great, simple, practical use for that. And I just love it. It's awesome. One thing I thought, though, that was weird was one of Casey's left hands has his fingers kind of bent, kind of like he'd be holding something like the broad side of the hockey sticks or something like that. Well, like normally they'd be raised, like on any other action figure, to like give a little bit with like a little bit of give to like grip and you know, wiggle room for it to get in there and whatnot. But like these are just molded into the hand, and it doesn't look bad. It's just different, I guess. And I don't know. I wasn't sure how I felt about that. However, regardless of what hands you give him, he looks and feels fantastic and is ready to give his turtle buds a hand anytime they call him to break stuff, because that's what this version does, is break stuff. So if you love cartoon comic vigilantes who love violence, then Casey Jones is your guy. If you love characters who wear hockey masks, you're going to love this one. Or if you just love really cool action figures based on their cartoon character appearance, then I absolutely think that Casey Jones is going to make your day. Or night, depending on if you want me to reference the show. Like, because in the show he says make my night, because he didn't want to totally rip off Clint Eastwood, but whatever. All right, well, that's going to do it for me today. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit that like button. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe as well. Let us know in the comments, what do you think of Casey Jones? Which is your favorite? Do you love or hate this version of Casey Jones, or at least how he was presented in the animated series? And definitely let us know if we got anything loud and wrong. And if you want to hear us talk about Casey Jones, and I say us, meaning me and my friend Ryan, because he's not here right now, but normally he's here on YouTube with me, usually every other Thursday at Turtle Soup Podcast, where we've been talking about the Ninja Turtles for 10 years, and we've definitely talked about this version of Casey Jones, and we both have differing opinions about him. So if you would like to hear those, or if any of that sounds interesting to you, be sure to head on over there and check it out. And until then, Elsetime.